This is the most New England neighborhood they could have possibly organized a race. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year. Last week, we finally made it under the 30-minute barrier, and now it's about maintaining that form. So we've taken our talents to the old Weathersfield 5K, set in one of the original 3 towns in Connecticut, commemorated by those cheeky little grapevines on the state flag. A few ideas if you want to build consistency. Number 1, get yourself a blender and become a certified smoothie guy. Number 2, yes, you do need to prioritize sleep. It's amazing how much you hate yourself less with a little self-care. And number 3, don't overthink and micromanage yourself. Focus on doing one thing better this week than you did the last. That's all you really need to do, because those are more likely to become the routine than just forcing a cold turkey all at once. Seems to be working so far here. 29:42 at the line after some great views of a very pretty town. On to week 19. Like and follow for more. Which makes you run faster? Endorphin shoes or endorphins from elsewhere? I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and according to Strava, this race in Windsor smashed my personal best by over a minute, but not all is as it seems. First, another shoe change from our trio of hand-me-downs, the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, which, unlike the moon boots, are actually designed for 5K race pace. And here's the thing, when you sign up for races this often, you're gonna have to learn to wake up early on weekends, so your coffee intake goes up, and nature is quick to the draw. Meaning the starting horn goes off while you're stuck at the porta-john line, struggling. Are these shoes a massive breakthrough, or did I just find a really toxic trait to improve my running speed? For now, the race measured 29:36. Strava says I broke 27:30. Guess we'll just have to keep running these and find out. This is the fastest race in America you've never heard about. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year. And this is the New Haven Road Race. Yes, that New Haven, the pizza capital of America, and no, I won't be convinced otherwise. Among the many courses to try on this Labor Day tradition is the National Championships of the 20K distance, the metric half marathon, or just below half marathon, bringing out America's best runners like Des Linden, Connor Mance, and Olympic marathon bronze medalist Molly Seidel. But we've got a job to do, so after finding out just how awkward I am around former Olympians,
Hi, Kevin.
it's time to race the 5K, looping around New Haven's Town Green in the East Rock neighborhood near Yale. The course is very New York Marathon, in the sense that it's not so much hilly or flat, it's that the hills are annoyingly long and gradual. So even if you're like me and 2 days removed from food poisoning rearing its ugly head, it's well worth the sights and sounds, and a good excuse to go to Sally's. 30-10 at the line. We'll play it safe eating this week to prevent any more issues. We got a fast one coming next week. Like and follow for more. This is how I've improved after running a 5K race every weekend for 20 weeks. I'm doing this challenge throughout a full calendar year for a few reasons. First, a selfish one. I ran the New York City Marathon for the first time in 6 hours, caught the running bug, and now I'm base training to aim for 4 hours in the other majors. Second, I wanted to document something like this to prove that you can do a lot of great things with running. Even if you feel like you're a beginner, you're not fast enough, or you don't have enough time in the week to train. That progress in real time isn't linear. Life can get in the way sometimes, but each race is a goal to set, a lesson to learn, and often $30 to a charity that needs it. Because that's all this challenge has been, really. Find a race somewhere, put the GoPro on, and run to see what happens. But thank you to everybody who's followed along so far. Let me know in the comments something you did this year that you're really proud of. I ran my fastest 5K time in Taylor Swift's old neighborhood. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year. And just east of Watch Hill, Rhode Island is Squamicut Beach, home of the Surf Town Half Marathon. The Half Marathon course runs right through the neighborhood Swifties know from a bygone era, but on the 5K, a rare opportunity. A course so flat that it clocks 0 feet of hills.
Now this is pod racing.
This is my second year in a row running at this event, and despite the dense fog, it's tough for me to see why Taylor left. Perhaps Blondie was done with flat courses and wanted to go for something a little beefier and fun. But it's a golden opportunity for a PR on the Endorphin Pros that, I guess, has the Edward Cullen colorway? I mean, look at that sparkle. 29:06 at the line, that's 2 more seconds down, and fast enough this week to podium in the Clydesdale division, which is runner's language for third fastest thick boy. Like and follow for more. This is the word that all runners fear. Injury. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, but this crouch may have put my challenge in jeopardy. The setting is a town fair in Somers, Connecticut, a pastime of early autumn around here, and after racing this out and back in the street adjacent to the carnival, it was obvious that my knees felt off. When getting into running and experiencing your first injury, it's very easy to let the anxiety get to you. But you just have to remind yourself, not every injury is your fault, and even if it is, you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. No one is immediately an expert, even if they pretend to by starting short-form content on Instagram and YouTube. So after this 29:26 and enjoying the animals a bit, we just need to take a step back, assess the situation, and see how to move forward from there. Are we in trouble? Like and follow to find out. This is the biggest mistake new runners make, and it can cost you. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, but at week 23, progress has been stalled thanks to 2 words: runner's knee. For this race, raising money to help outrun addiction and substance abuse, the goal is surviving after a week of rehab and one major realization. Like the rest of my life, the legs require a bit of stability. See, I've been messing with a lot of soft foam and racing shoes, but if you ignore your gait analysis at the shoe store, your running shoes may do more harm than good. And that harm seems to have arrived for me, so we're back to the Brooks Adrenalines. And most importantly, the race was done, and the challenge continues. 29:23 at the line this week, the knee pain only showing up briefly post-race. The crisis looks averted for now. Like and follow for more. I found one of the best 5Ks in a place I did not expect expected. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, almost halfway on the calendar on week 24. And this week's race comes from the Tommy DeVito of the internet, Nikki Cass.
Hey, you awake?
For the second year in a row, Nikki organized a charity 5K to honor a relative who passed. And since my friend Jeff here loves to remind me of my meatball heritage with his content, we took the trip to Congers, New York. Across the Tappan Zee. Call it the Mario Cuomo in the comments. I dare you. Jeff paced me for this race that loops around Rockland Lake. But while I wasn't expecting much from the race itself, it ended up being the perfect spot to go for a PR. Flat course, wonderful lake views, and small enough in size that you're more likely to get obstructed by geese and rainwater than people.
Beautiful.
And boy did it work. 28:03 at the line, meaning we chopped over a minute off our best. We'll see if we can match it without a pacer next week in a very special place for me, but in the meantime, shout out to Nikki Cass, because this was a great event. MetLife Stadium, the house that Eli Manning built. Somehow. And while I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, the New York Giants offered the perfect opportunity to walk its hallowed grounds. Each October, the Giants hold a charity 5K to help with the community efforts they're involved in, giving fans a chance to run around the Meadowlands, then finish on the field at the Tri-States Coliseum. Now I'm a third-generation Giants fan from northern Connecticut, and this was my first time in East Rutherford ever. So what I lacked in preparation for getting there from the city was made up for in racing adrenaline. After a high five from Super Bowl champ Ahmad Bradshaw at the start, it's crank up the Sam Spence, relive the half-year junior varsity high school ball, and manifest a fast time. The course keeps you guessing with a gnarly hill at the 4K mark, but ring that PR bell anyway. 27:42 at the line, down another 20 seconds. We're officially less than 3 minutes from our goal time with the halfway point next week. Like and follow for more. This is the marathon weekend that everybody's sleeping on. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and this weekend marks the official halfway point of the challenge. So what better place to mark it than the state's largest running event, the Hartford Marathon. While the marathon and half courses have changed over the years, it's had a reputation for being a rolling hill hater's nightmare. But to me, it's the perfect cost-effective, high-difficulty race to aim for if you're looking to try those distances in a fun environment. I see your Brandenburg Gate, and I raise you our soldiers and sailors arch. As for me and the charity 5K though, we got our bid the night before at the expo after meeting Martinez Evans, then looped around downtown Hartford in celebration mode with my new friends at the 86 Go Run Club. It hasn't been easy spending the last 6 months finding races and finding the time to do them every week, but even if the times hadn't improved in the way they have, I'm proud of myself for sticking to a goal like this for this long. 28:52 at the line. Thank you to everybody following along so far. Now on to the winter months, where things are bound to get quite interesting. Like and follow for more. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and it's the peak of fall, which in New England has its benefits and... At the Farmington Valley Pumpkin Run with Halloween in the air and permanent orange filters on everything, I vastly underestimated the sore throat I developed in the days prior. Negative at-home test? Sure. Fun little cold just passing through? Anything but. It's easy to be discouraged by races when bad days are out of your control, but oftentimes it can help you appreciate the progress you've made in your running journey. This race got done in 34:23 on the precipice of one of my worst colds in years. That's still faster than the first 4 races of this challenge. Days when you're feeling off are a natural part of the running experience, but the important thing is that you showed up and you got it done anyway. And trust me, that'll make the good days feel better. Now I'm off to take a nap. Like and follow for more. Running has a way of putting you in the weirdest situations, and while I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, we found ourselves on Halloween weekend at a high school that definitely could have passed as the one from the Breakfast Club, basically in survival mode as far as the challenge is concerned. The past week and a half I've been fighting a cold that wasn't the Bat Bonanza, but definitely had me feeling like Angela from Smosh after getting tricked with fried cat food. So here in Haddam, Connecticut, expectations are low. Drive in, run the out and back to help local youth and family services, drive home. The good news is it seems we're back in a place where I don't need to walk any, but the lack of training to recover from this thing is very clear. I've said it before, progress isn't linear and life gets in the way, but with a 30:07 at the line, things are looking up, and next week is set to be a special one. This is the New York City Marathon. A race that inspired me to be a runner in 2022. And while I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, I came back a year later to mark the milestone. Now the smart thing would have been to sign up for the Abbott Dash to the Finish, which is a massive 5K held the day before the race. But my friends got married that day, and running isn't paying the bills enough to desert family. So I organized my own run, put out an open call on Instagram and said, hey, I'll be at the finish line the Monday after, come through and let's race. One person showed up. Shout out Julia from Seth the Morse Discord. Most people who finish the marathon in Central Park will tell you that its rolling hills will make you regret ever running here.
Oh my god, I almost died!
But Julia is a local, knew how to pace the best route. Uphill at the beginning, then book it downhill at the end. With an unexpected 27:41, my PR goes down another second. Definitely recommend seeing Marathon Weekend, even if you aren't running. Like and follow for more. Running in the winter. For new runners like me, a fear needing to be faced. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and in week 30 we're trying to get under 25 minutes. But 2 new words are being added to my running vocabulary this week: below freezing. Here in Glastonbury, home of the festival Coachella wishes it was, temps are in the low 20s, so it's time to break out some new gear. An insulated shirt from Puma that cost $25 at Costco. Saucony Ride 15s I got at DSW for $30. The cheapest CLE winter hat in New York last weekend at the marathon. Oh, you thought I was gonna be an influencer with the top tech? Hold on, let me go tell my wallet that.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Well, my last Glastonbury adventure in week 10 was Rolling Hills. This race, also organized by the River Runners, had just 9 feet of gain. So with the current form and an attempt as a stability guy to have a race day shoe, it's as good a time as any to go full throttle. Except whoever drew the course up to run right by Chipotle at the halfway point, that was sick. You're sick. 27:34 at the line though. My PR is down another 7 seconds. Better get used to this weather because it's going to be here for a while. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and week 31 shows you just how important your local running store is. Because I've only got a few months to get to my goal of breaking 25 minutes, but that milestone looks closer thanks to Fleet Feet in Long Meadow, Mass. This fun run they held with a pub nearby looks very humble on the surface. No bibs, no timing, pizza party after, but it ended up being the perfect blend of pain and perseverance. First it butters you up with a solid downhill to get you comfortable, and then in kilometers 2 and 3, 80 feet is steady uphill like you're feeling bold on the treadmill. There was something about this race, what I lacked in the ability to adjust the brightness on the GoPro was completely made up for in form. But that's the beauty of having local outlets like running stores and run clubs. It provides you with unique opportunities to try new routes, meet fellow runners, just expand your horizons to places you otherwise wouldn't. And now thanks to this race, my PR is at 27:19.
23:19!
So we're almost at 2 minutes to go, and we've got a Connecticut Classic coming next week. Like and follow to see how that goes. Today I begin my journey to be a turkey trot dad. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, but for the second time this challenge, I'm going a little longer, because it isn't Thanksgiving in the Northeast without the Manchester Road Race. A 4.7-mile course which includes a 250-foot climb at the beginning, and a bounty that's brought pros to central Connecticut for half a century, like new American record holder Wayne Kilati. But for me in the back, it's time to learn the spirit of the season. This race is massive, 11,000 plus stuffed into a modest town center, so while I had time expectations, the foot traffic prevented any speed at all. But the fact is, the beauty of running isn't always about getting the PRs you hope for. It's a community built from clubs like 86 Go. It's the accomplishment of finishing race after race you once thought was impossible to run. The people that inspire me most in the community are the ones who embrace the challenge of the journey, but they have fun in the process. So that's the new goal for the final 20 weeks of this challenge, because I need it.
Have some fun.
50-21 at the line. We're back to the 5Ks next week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Remember at the Boston Marathon when Eliud Kipchoge all of a sudden felt human? I learned the hard way why that is. I'm running a 5K race every week for an entire year, and in week 33 we're kicking off the holiday season in West Hartford. But with winter in the air comes the cold, nasty rain that takes me back to the Boston Marathon, the weekend before this challenge began. Kipchoge referenced his shoes getting waterlogged so much that it got heavier with every step, and I always wondered, was that a valid reason for slower times? The Blueback Mitten Run provided the answer. It's a great race overall. Location has plenty to do, 115 feet of elevation that only gets bad for a brief second, but even with Saucony rides, which aren't the most breathable shoes, socks turned into sponges and strides turned into lifting numb limbs. Seeing that it turned me a bit slower, it seems that theory about Boston is true. But after 29:33, I know that I'll get my own shot at the next Boston Marathon, as the BAA 5K the Saturday before is now locked in as week 52 to close out the challenge. Drop a comment if I'll see you there.